I need a doctor. My son. He's not breathing.
The ambulance screamed past me while I stood frozen on the sidewalk, watching the only person who ever showed me kindness die inside it. But let me back up, because what happened that Tuesday afternoon changed everything I thought I knew about people, money, and why some of us are born to suffer while others are born to own the world. My name is Leo. I'm 14 years old, and I sleep under a bridge on 5th Street. This is the story of how I saved a rich kid's life and learned that sometimes doing the right thing costs more than doing nothing at all. Hey friends, thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to comment where you are watching from. Someone close to you might be watching too. Like, share, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a story. Make sure to watch till the very end, because the final twist is something you definitely don't want to miss. So, let's continue. The morning started like every other morning. I woke up when the sun hit my face through the gap in the cardboard boxes I'd stacked around my sleeping spot. My stomach hurt from hunger. It always hurt. You get used to it after a while, the same way you get used to the cold, the smell, the looks people give you when you walk past them on the street. I grabbed my backpack, the one with the broken zipper I'd tied shut with string, and headed toward downtown. Tuesday was garbage day in the fancy neighborhood near the park. Rich people threw away better food than poor people could buy. I wasn't proud of it, but pride doesn't fill an empty belly. The sun felt warm on my face as I walked. I tried to enjoy small things like that: warmth, a blue sky, the sound of birds. When you have nothing, you learn to find treasure in moments instead of things. I was cutting through an alley behind a coffee shop when I heard the screech of tires, then screaming. I dropped my backpack and ran toward the sound, my heart hammered in my chest. Something was very wrong. I could feel it in my bones. When I burst out of the alley onto Main Street, I saw chaos. A black car, expensive and shiny, sat sideways in the middle of the road. The driver's door hung open. Smoke poured from under the hood. And there, in the intersection, a boy about my age lay crumpled on the pavement like a broken doll. He wore clothes that probably cost more than most people made in a month. White sneakers, now scuffed and bloody. A watch that caught the sunlight and threw it back in golden sparks. His eyes were closed. Blood ran from his head onto the street. People stood on the sidewalk with their phones out, recording, taking pictures. But nobody moved. "Someone call an ambulance," a woman shouted. "Is he breathing?" another person yelled. But still, nobody went to him. I don't know why I moved when everyone else just stood there. Maybe because I knew what it felt like to be helpless. To need someone, anyone, to care. Or maybe I just didn't think. I just ran. I dropped to my knees beside him. My hands shook as I touched his shoulder. Hey, can you hear me?" His eyes fluttered. Blood soaked through his blonde hair. So much blood. "Don't move him," someone shouted from the sidewalk. "You'll make it worse." But his lips were turning blue. I'd seen that before on the streets. It meant he couldn't breathe right. I tilted his head back the way I'd learned from a paramedic who sometimes gave me food outside the hospital. "Come on," I whispered. "Stay with me." His chest moved. Barely. A tiny gasp. "That's it," I said. "Keep breathing. Help is coming." Time stretched weird. Seconds felt like hours. I held his head still and kept talking to him, telling him he'd be okay, that he had to hang on, that someone was coming to help. I don't know if he heard me. His eyes opened once, looked right at me, confused and scared. Then they closed again. Finally, sirens split the air. Paramedics rushed over with a stretcher and a bag full of equipment. They moved fast, professional, checking his pulse and his eyes and putting a brace around his neck. "Good job keeping his airway open," one of them told me. "You might have saved his life, kid." Then they loaded him into the ambulance and drove away, lights flashing, sirens screaming. I stood there in the street with blood on my hands and knees, shaking. A police officer walked over. "You okay, son?" I nodded. But I wasn't. My whole body trembled. I'd never seen someone hurt that bad up close. Never touched someone who might die. "What's your name?" the officer asked. "Leo." "Where are your parents, Leo?" I looked down at my dirty shoes. Don't have any. His face changed, softened. You live around here? I shrugged. What was I supposed to say? That I lived nowhere? That I was nobody? You did a brave thing today, he said quietly. Real brave. Then he asked me a few more questions, wrote some notes, and told me I could go. I picked up my backpack and walked away from the crowd, away from the whispers and the stares. My hands still shook. The blood on them had dried dark and sticky. I thought that would be the end of it. Just another story about a kid who got hit by a car, another Tuesday in the city. I had no idea that everything was about to change. 3 days later, I was sitting under my bridge eating half a sandwich I'd found in a trash can when a black car pulled up on the street above. Not just any car, the same car from the accident. I recognized the dent in the front bumper. My stomach dropped. 2 men in suits got out. They looked around, spotted me, and started walking down the slope toward the bridge. Every instinct screamed at me to run. Men in suits meant trouble. They meant social services and foster homes and questions I didn't want to answer. I'd learned to disappear when people like that showed up. But something made me stay. Maybe curiosity. Maybe the tired kind of surrender you feel when you've been running for too long. The men stopped a few feet away. One of them, tall with grey hair, cleared his throat. Are you Leo? My mouth went dry. Maybe. We've been looking for you for 3 days, he said. My name is James Harrington. You saved my son's life. The world tilted sideways. His son. The boy from the accident was this man's son. Is he okay? The words tumbled out before I could stop them. James Harrington's face cracked into a smile. Thanks to you, yes. He's home now, recovering. The doctors said if you hadn't kept his airway open, he would have died before the ambulance arrived. Something hot and tight lodged in my throat. I'm glad he's okay. I want to thank you properly, James said. I'd like to invite you to dinner at my home. Tonight, if possible. My son wants to meet you. I looked down at my dirty clothes, my broken shoes. I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? Because I don't belong in places like that. James stepped closer. His eyes were kind. Leo, you saved my son's life. You belong anywhere you want to be. Please, let me do this. Let me thank you. The other man, who hadn't spoken yet, held out a business card. The address, 6 o'clock. A car will pick you up here if you'd like. They left before I could say no. I sat there holding the card, reading the address over and over. I knew that street. I'd walked past those houses before. Houses with gates and gardens and windows that glowed warm at night. Houses where people like me didn't exist except as shadows to ignore, but curiosity won. Or maybe loneliness. When you're invisible most of the time, the chance to be seen, really seen, feels like water after days in the desert. At 5:30, I washed my face and hands in the public bathroom at the park. I tried to make myself look less like a street kid and more like a normal person, but there's only so much you can do with cold water and hand soap. At 6 o'clock, a car pulled up, the same driver who'd been with James that afternoon. He smiled at me. Ready? I climbed into the back seat. The leather felt soft and smelled new. I tried not to touch anything, worried I'd get it dirty. The drive took 20 minutes. We left the downtown streets and headed into neighborhoods where the houses got bigger and bigger, where trees lined the sidewalks and everything looked clean and perfect. Finally, we turned through iron gates into a driveway that seemed to go on forever. The house wasn't a house, it was a mansion. White stone, tall windows, a fountain in the front yard. It looked like something from a movie. My heart hammered. What was I doing here? I didn't belong in a place like this. But the driver opened my door and led me up the steps. The front door opened before we reached it. James Harrington stood there smiling. Leo, thank you for coming. Please, come in. I stepped inside and my breath caught. The entry hall was bigger than some apartments I'd seen. A chandelier hung from the ceiling, throwing light everywhere. Paintings covered the walls. A staircase curved upward like something from a fairy tale. "This way," James said. He led me through hallways into a dining room with a table long enough to seat 20 people. But tonight, only 3 places were set. A woman with soft brown hair and a gentle face stood up when we entered. "You must be Leo. I'm Diana, Tyler's mother." She crossed the room and took my hands in hers. Her eyes were wet. "Thank you. Thank you for saving my boy." I didn't know what to say. I just did what anyone would do. "No," she said firmly. "Most people wouldn't have. Most people just stood there, but you acted. You were brave." Then footsteps sounded on the stairs. The boy from the accident appeared in the doorway. Tyler. He looked better than the last time I'd seen him, though a bandage wrapped around his head and bruises darkened his face. He walked slowly, carefully, like moving hurt. Our eyes met. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he crossed the room and threw his arms around me. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for not letting me die." That hot, tight feeling came back to my throat. I hugged him back, careful not to squeeze too hard. When we sat down to dinner, I stared at the food like it might disappear. Roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, fresh bread, vegetables I didn't even know the names of. More food than I'd seen in months. "Please eat," Diana said. I tried to eat slowly, like a normal person, but hunger took over. I couldn't help it. I ate until my stomach hurt in a good way instead of a bad way. Tyler told me what he remembered from the accident. Not much, just flashes. The car coming, the impact, waking up in the hospital. "The doctors told me some kid saved my life," he said. "I couldn't believe it when Dad said he'd found you." "How did you find me?" I asked James. "The police report had your first name and a description. We asked around, offered a reward for information. Someone who works near 5th Street told us about a boy living under the bridge." After dinner, Tyler showed me his room. It was huge, a king-size bed, a TV bigger than some cars, shelves full of books and games and things I couldn't even name. Windows overlooked a backyard with a pool that glowed blue in the darkness. "This is amazing," I said. Tyler sat on his bed and looked around like he was seeing it for the first time. I guess I never really thought about it before. We talked for hours. He told me about his school, his friends, his life. I told him a little about mine. Not everything, not the hard parts, but enough that he understood. "You're brave," Tyler said finally, "braver than me." "You got hit by a car and survived. That's pretty brave." "No, I mean living the way you do. I couldn't do it. I'd fall apart." I shrugged. "You do what you have to do." When the night ended, James drove me back to the bridge himself. Before I got out, he pressed something into my hand. Money, a thick stack of bills. "I can't take this," I said. "You saved my son. This is the least I can do. Please, buy yourself some food, some clothes, whatever you need." I wanted to refuse, but hunger and cold and tired won. I took the money and whispered, "Thank you." "Come back any time," James said. "You're always welcome. I mean that." I walked back under my bridge with more money in my pocket than I'd ever held in my life, my stomach full, my heart confused. For one night I'd been seen, I'd been someone, and I was terrified that feeling would disappear with the sunrise. I didn't hear from the Harringtons for a week. Life went back to normal. Cold nights, hungry days, the usual invisible existence. But then Tyler showed up. I was sitting by the river watching ducks when someone called my name. Tyler walked toward me smiling. The bandage was gone from his head. He looked almost normal except for the fading bruises. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "Looking for you. I wanted to see if you were okay." "I'm fine." He sat down beside me. "Dad said I couldn't come find you. Said it wasn't safe, but I snuck out." Something warm spread through my chest. "You snuck out to see me?" "Yeah. Is that weird?" "A little." We sat there watching the river. It felt easy, natural, like we'd been friends for years instead of days. "Can I ask you something?" Tyler said. "Sure." "Why didn't you just walk away when I got hit? You didn't know me." You could have just left. I thought about it. Because nobody should die alone in the street while people just watch. Tyler nodded slowly. That makes you a better person than most people I know. After that, Tyler started coming by every few days. Sometimes he brought food. Sometimes we just talked. He told me about his life, his school, the pressure from his parents to be perfect. I told him about surviving on the streets, the cold, the hunger, the way people looked through you like you weren't real. We became friends, real friends. For the first time in years, I had someone who cared if I lived or died. But good things never last long for people like me. 2 months after the accident, James Harrington showed up at the bridge with an offer that sounded too good to be true. I want you to come live with us, he said. I stared at him. What? You shouldn't be living like this, Leo. You're 14. You should be in school. You should have a home, a bed, a future. My heart pounded. I can't just move into your house. Why not? Because people like me don't live with people like you. That's exactly why you should, James said. Because it's wrong that the world works that way. Because my son is alive because of you. Because I can help and I want to. I wanted to say yes so badly it hurt, but fear held me back. Fear that it wouldn't last. Fear that I'd mess it up. Fear that I'd start to hope and then lose everything. Think about it, James said. Take all the time you need. But that night, Tyler showed up. Dad told me what he offered you, he said. I don't know if I can do it. Why not? Because I don't fit in your world. Tyler grabbed my shoulders. Listen to me. You're my best friend. You saved my life. You belong wherever you want to belong, and I want you to stay. The walls I'd built around my heart started to crack. Please, Tyler said. Say yes. Move in with us. Let us help you. I looked into his eyes and saw something I'd never seen directed at me before. Hope. Real hope. For me. Okay, I whispered. Okay. The next week changed my life. James helped me get a social security card and enrolled me in school. Diana took me shopping for clothes, real clothes that fit, shoes without holes, a winter coat that actually kept out the cold. They gave me a bedroom bigger than any place I'd ever slept. A bed with clean sheets, a desk, a window with a view of trees. Tyler helped me with homework since I was so far behind. He introduced me to his friends, though most of them looked at me like I was something strange and temporary. For 3 months, I lived like a normal kid. I went to school. I ate 3 meals a day. I slept without wondering if someone would steal my stuff or hurt me while I slept. I started to believe maybe, just maybe, good things could last. But I should have known better. The first crack appeared at Tyler's birthday party. Rich kids everywhere, designer clothes, expensive gifts, a pool party with catered food and a DJ. I stayed in the corner, watching. Some kids talked to me, most didn't. I heard whispers. That's the homeless kid. I heard James pays him to be Tyler's friend. My mom says it's charity, like adopting a puppy. The words stabbed deeper than I wanted to admit. Tyler found me hiding in the house. What are you doing in here? Come outside. I don't belong out there. Stop saying that. It's true. Those kids look at me like I'm a stray dog you brought home. Tyler's face fell. I'm sorry. They're idiots. Ignore them. But I couldn't. Because deep down, I wondered if they were right. The second crack came from James. I overheard him on the phone one night. His study door was cracked open. I know it looks good, Patricia. The media loves a redemption story. Wealthy family takes in homeless boy. It's excellent PR for the company. Shows we care about the community. My blood went cold. PR. Public relations. I was good for his image. I backed away from the door, my chest tight, my eyes burning. Had any of it been real? The kindness, the welcome, or was I just a prop in their perfect life? The final crack shattered everything. A month later, Tyler and I got into an argument. Something stupid about a video game. But it escalated fast. You're such a know-it-all, Tyler shouted. At least I'm grateful for what I have, I shot back. Oh, here we go. The homeless saint routine. You think you're better than me because you suffered? The words cut deep. I never said that. You didn't have to. It's written all over your face. Poor Leo. Saved my life. Now he gets to judge me for having things. That's not fair. Nothing's fair, Leo. Life isn't fair. You should know that better than anyone. Silence fell like a hammer. Tyler's face crumpled. I'm sorry, I didn't mean... But I was already walking away. I went to my room and locked the door. I sat on the bed, shaking. This wasn't my home. These weren't my people. I was just a charity case, a feel-good story. Something to make rich people feel better about themselves. That night I packed my backpack. I left a note on my bed. Simple. Just 2 words. Thank you. Then I climbed out my window and disappeared into the night. I went back to the bridge. The cardboard boxes were still there, soggy and falling apart. My old spot felt smaller than I remembered. Colder. But at least it was real. For 3 days I survived the way I'd always survived, scrounging food, avoiding cops, disappearing. On the 4th day, Tyler found me. He looked awful. Red eyes, messy hair, like he hadn't slept. Why did you leave? He asked. Because I don't belong there. That's garbage and you know it. Your dad said it himself. I'm good PR for the company. Tyler's face went pale. You heard that? Every word. He sat down beside me. My dad says a lot of stupid things when he's on the phone, but that doesn't mean he doesn't care. None of that means we don't care. I was charity, Tyler. A project. A way for your family to feel good about themselves. No. Tyler grabbed my arm. You were my friend. You are my friend, the best friend I've ever had. And I'm sorry if we made you feel like anything less than that. Tears burned in my eyes. I can't go back. Why not? Because what happens when you get bored of me? What happens when the story isn't interesting anymore? I'll be thrown away again, and I can't survive that. Tyler's voice broke. You're not a story, Leo. You're a person. You're my brother. The word hit me like a punch. Brother. Please come home, Tyler whispered. Let us prove it to you. I went back. Not because I was sure, not because the fear disappeared, but because maybe, just maybe, taking the risk was worth it. James and Diana were waiting when we walked through the door. Diana hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. James had tears in his eyes. I'm sorry, James said. I'm sorry if I made you feel like you were anything less than part of this family. That phone call was business. It had nothing to do with why you're here. Then why am I here? I asked. Because you matter. Because Tyler loves you. Because we love you. And because family isn't just blood, it's choice. That night we sat together and talked, really talked, about fears and expectations and what it meant to belong. It wasn't perfect. There were still hard days, still moments when I felt like an outsider. But they kept choosing me, day after day, week after week. And slowly I started to believe that maybe I was worth choosing. A year later, James and Diana officially adopted me. I stood in a courtroom with Tyler beside me, holding my hand, and listened to a judge say the words that made it real. I had a family, a last name, a future. When we walked out of the courthouse, reporters waited outside. Cameras flashed, questions flew. James held up a hand. We're not here for publicity. We're here because a brave kid saved my son's life and reminded us what really matters. Love, family, showing up for each other. Then he put his arm around my shoulders and said something I'll never forget. This is my son, Leo, and I'm proud of him. 5 years later, I graduated high school with honors. Tyler stood in the crowd, cheering louder than anyone. James and Diana cried happy tears. I got accepted to college on a full scholarship. I'm studying social work now. I want to help kids like me. Kids who think they're invisible. Kids who need someone to see them. Because I learned something important. Saving Tyler's life that day on the street wasn't the moment that changed everything. The moment that changed everything was when they saved mine. Not with money or a big house or fancy things, but by showing up, by choosing me, by proving that sometimes the family you find is stronger than the family you're born into. I still think about that Tuesday afternoon sometimes. The blood on the pavement, the boy who couldn't breathe, the choice I made to run toward trouble instead of away from it, and I realized that one small act of courage can change 2 lives at once. I saved Tyler. But in the end, he saved me too. Here are 10 moral lessons from this story. True courage means acting when everyone else stands frozen. Leo ran to help Tyler while crowds just watched and recorded, proving that bravery isn't about strength, but about choosing compassion over comfort. Your circumstances don't define your character. Despite having nothing, Leo possessed more humanity and kindness than many people who had everything, showing that goodness lives in the heart, not the wallet. Real family is built through choice and love, not just blood. The Harringtons chose Leo, and Leo chose them back, proving that the bonds we create can be stronger than the ones we're born into. One moment of kindness can create ripples that change multiple lives forever. Leo's split-second decision to help a stranger didn't just save Tyler's life, it transformed his own future in ways he never imagined. Vulnerability and asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Leo's willingness to accept the Harringtons' offer, despite his fears and pride, opened the door to healing and belonging. People are fighting battles you know nothing about. Both Leo and Tyler carried invisible wounds, reminding us to approach everyone with empathy because we never truly know what someone is going through. Trust takes time to build, especially for those who've been hurt before. Leo's struggle to believe in the Harringtons' love was valid, teaching us that patience and consistency are essential when helping someone heal from trauma. Actions speak louder than intentions. James's phone call about PR hurt Leo deeply, showing that what we do and say when we think no one is listening reveals our true character. Sometimes the person you save ends up saving you right back. Leo saved Tyler's physical life, but Tyler and his family saved Leo's future, proving that rescue is often a two-way street. Your past pain can become your purpose for helping others. Leo's decision to study social work shows that our deepest wounds, when healed, can become our greatest tools for making the world better. Dear friends, what you just saw is only one part of the bigger picture. In the next video, I'll reveal the twist no one saw coming. So make sure you're here when it drops. I would love to know what you would have done in this situation. Drop your thoughts below. I'll be reading every single comment. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much, and don't forget to give this video a like, hit the subscribe button and share with someone who needs to hear it.